evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, November 21, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. President Ali, Army Chief, meet with relatives of troops at Guyana-Venezuela border. U.S. $83.3 million Norway funds to finance 8 solar farms across Guyana. GDI seeking partnerships with Harvard to support Guyana's development efforts. New wave of quality partnership BREWS as EU Chamber of Commerce launched, and FAO commissions new $35 million GLSC building to meet increasing demand for services in BERBICE. Now for the news in detail. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Force, President Dr. Irfan Ali, and Army Chief Brigadier Omar Khan today met with families of soldiers who have been dispatched to the villages near the Guyana-Venezuela border amid heightened threats of aggression from that Spanish-speaking country. During the interactive session, President Ali and the Chief of Staff addressed a wide range of concerns raised by the family members as they gave assurances of unwavering support from the government and the Guyana Defense Force during this time. Guyana has already received major international support, with President Ali assuring that should there be escalated aggression on the part of the Spanish-speaking nation, these counterparts will stand firmly in defending the country's territorial and sovereign integrity. While he has made it clear that Guyana has no interest in engaging in conflict, the head of state explained that every front is being covered, including the worst-case scenario if Venezuela were to act recklessly. Guyana is currently seeking an injunction from the International Court of Justice against Venezuela's efforts to annex Essequibo via a referendum planned for December 3. We now tell you that as many as 8 solar farms are going to be established across the country under the Inter-American Development Bank administered National Solar PV project, using more than US $80 million that was received from Norway as part of Guyana's Forestry Pact. Here is Gerald Bryan with the details.
3 solar farms will be built on vacant agricultural land at Prospect, East Bank of Demerara, Hampshire on the Corentyne Coast, and Trafalgar in Mahaica, Berbice. Meanwhile, 2 solar farms will be built on former mining land in Decorah and Retrieve, while another one will be built in Block 37. All 3 sites are located in Linden, Region 10. The 2 final solar farms will be built at Onderneming and Charity, both in Essequibo. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has since exempted the projects from requiring an environmental impact assessment. The EPA explained that the projects will not significantly impact air or water quality and are not located close to any sensitive ecosystem. Nevertheless, persons were given 30 days to appeal the EPA's decision to the Environmental Assessment Board. Last year, the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, had approved some US $83.3 million in funds for Guyana to spend on the construction of the 8 large solar farms. This was as part of its Guyana Utility-Scale Solar Photovoltaic Program, GUYANA'S. The project, being executed by the Guyana Power and Light, will add 10 megawatts in the BERBICE grid, 8 megawatts in the Essequibo system, and 50 megawatts in Linden. All 33 megawatts will be fed into the Demerara-Berbice Interconnected System, DBIS, the country's main power distribution network. There are solar farm projects at Wakenham, Legwan, Madia, Letem, and Bartica. Additionally, there are over a dozen solar mini-grids in hinterland communities. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
The Guyana Development Initiative, a project led by the Institute for Strategy and Competitiveness at Harvard Business School to provide technical and strategic assistance on initiatives in priority areas, is seeking to leverage Harvard's resources and build partnerships with Harvard University to support Guyana's development efforts. Find out more in this Kamesi Slow report.
The American Chambers of Commerce of Guyana, AmCham Guyana, and the Guyana Development Initiative, GDI, recently hosted Dr. Christian Kettles from the Harvard Business School for a compelling presentation on company strategy and the role of the private sector in Guyana's development. The event was held last week at the Guyana Marriott Hotel, marking a successful collaboration between the 2 organizations. Dr. Kettles' expertise and experience covers a wide area, including the foundations of long-term growth, the role of location and microeconomic factors in company success, and regional innovation policies. His presentation touched on critical issues for fostering sustainable growth in the private sector, considering Guyana's national context. Key points included the need for strategic thinking, enhancing operational effectiveness, leveraging partnership to accelerate change, and strengthening the enabling environment. The presentation brought together a diverse audience of AmCham Guyana's membership, representatives from the wider Guyana private sector, and other key stakeholders, including representatives of the diplomatic community. The success of AmCham Guyana and GDI collaboration was further emphasized by a private sector breakfast meeting with Dr. Kettles on Thursday last, which brought together leading players in various sectors to better understand the needs of the private sector and other priority issues in relation to private sector growth. Among the key areas discussed was the increased role that the private sector leaders and business support organizations can play in addressing skills gap and retention of labor, providing mentorship and training support to local businesses to equip them with tools and knowledge in specific areas such as company strategy and the business planning, and strategically working with the government on the priority areas for private sector development. According to a statement from AmCham, the GDI, a project led by the Institute of Strategic and Competitiveness at Harvard Business School to provide technical and strategic assistance on initiatives in priority areas, highlighted its ongoing partnership with the government of Guyana. AmCham said GDI is seeking to leverage Harvard resources and build partnership with Harvard University to support Guyana's development efforts. He noted that the visit of Dr. Kettles is one initiative with the private sector and an early step in identifying specific areas to support the private sector capacity development needs. I am Kamisi Slow, reporting for the evening.
The new European Chamber of Commerce, Guyana, was launched last evening, presenting a unique opportunity to facilitate greater trade and allow easier access for Guyanese businesses wanting to explore European markets. Rupasina Ryan reports that the chamber is one which government is hoping would bring a new wave of quality business and trade arrangements between the private sector and European businesses.
The launch of the new European Union Chamber of Commerce comes in synchrony with the visiting European Union Trade Mission this week, where 23 companies are here from 10 EU member states to identify potential investment opportunities. Gregory Dean has been identified as chairman of the new chamber. Networking, sharing best practices, advocating for members, supporting EU companies, and allowing Guyanese companies to enter the European market will be some of the positives coming out of this new establishment. Dean admitted that many times Guyanese companies have expressed willingness but are faced with difficulties in entering the European market. This is expected to change.
I think that would be a critical role we can play in terms of getting companies to establish their business in the EU. We believe we have a unique position due to the 27 countries making up the European Union, thus ensuring all sectors are catered for, and also there exist companies of varying sizes, from large multinationals to small niche operators. I think the range of companies here for the mission is also testament to this.
EU Ambassador to Guyana, René Van Ness, underscored that Guyana is different from other oil-producing nations in a sense that it has a diverse economy that is continuously evolving and expanding.
To harvest that incredible potential of Guyana, you will need to build partnerships. And I know Guyana wants to build partnerships. I know the Guyanese private sector wants to build partnerships. And I think that is exactly what the European companies are here for and what it is that they want to explore.
Public Works Minister Juan Agil in his remarks spoke of the new wave of quality and the style of partnerships coming out of this chamber. He again reiterated that Guyana is open for business.
It is my hope that networking will develop, we'll develop synergies, possible partnerships, and then we'll have investment opportunities being created that will bring a new wave and a new breath of fresh air, both in terms of type quality and style, because in every part of the world you have different experiences. We are not closed to any group. We're not pro or anti any group. Guyana is open for business.
The minister stressed on the need for direct flight routes between Guyana and Europe now that the increased partnerships are kicking off, for which government is in talks with carriers in order to position the country as a gateway for connectivity. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Government advisor and former Public Service Minister Dr. Jennifer Westford on Monday came down heavily on personnel officers over a number of issues plaguing the public service, which in turn impact the level of service delivered to the public. Here are the details from Kamesi Slow.
Our public servants are very, very dissatisfied with the level of service they get from their respective personnel departments. If we do not have a proper human resource system in place, a strong human resource system, our building, which is our public service, is on shaky ground. And I fear that we are currently a little shaky because that department, those departments, are not functioning the way they ought to.
Government advisor and former Public Service Minister Dr. Jennifer Westford at the opening of the annual Personnel Practitioners Workshop, which is being held under the theme Strengthening the Public Sector Through Human Resources Management. The exercise caters to personnel officers, permanent secretaries, and regional executive officers. In her presentation, Dr. Westford outlined several problems that beset the public sector.
We hear of circumstances where persons are working for 5 months and 4 months and haven't been paid. We have issues where we have our females who go off on maternity leave. That's another sore point. Why can't their doctors' paper they receive, their NIS paper, why can't it be processed efficiently so that they get their little monies? Some of them return to work without even being paid their NIS monies. And those are things that are happening in our system. We have our contracted workers. To get their gratuity, it's another issue. That is your responsibility. You must know when these persons, when the time is coming up for their gratuity, they must not have to come to you to remind you of that.
And according to Dr. Westford, in order for the public sector to run properly and efficiently, its employees must be satisfied.
If we are speaking of development in this country and effective and efficient services to our nation and our citizens, this is where it starts. The public service is where our services to the private sector, to the business community, this is where we have a responsibility. And if we have dissatisfied staff, they're not going to function the way they ought to.
I am Kamesi Slow reporting for the Evening News.
Coming up, Kanji Chinese supermarkets robbed by gunmen and GSA graduates challenged to contribute to diversification, modernization of agri-sector. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
Sun or rain? Up or down? No one knows what tomorrow will bring, but with Premier's commercial property insurance, you'll be ready. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Fuel your success. Premier Insurance. Premier Insurance coverage.
As you know, we have been experiencing power outages, prolonged power outages that we are totally dissatisfied with.
Right now, we are producing about 10 megawatt below what the peak requirement necessitates.
The truth be told, the pace at which we are growing would require us to double our capacity as quickly as possible. That is why the gas to energy project and the hydroelectric project is so important for us.
Moving, lifting, or bending, whatever the job, we at Sylvie's Variety Store have the right tools to make it happen. Pallet jacks and hand trucks for bonds and industrial sites, easy pickup and convenient maneuvers. Chain hoist from Roughneck and Northern Industrial, the perfect solution to lifting heavy objects. And then there's the 12-ton and 16-ton hydraulic pipe benders from 1/2 to 2 inch. We also stock the shop press machine from Northern Industrial. Sylvie's Variety Store stocks the tools to make it happen.
Giving you the best Christmas with Digicel.
Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Hold on to your Santa hats because there's up to $50 million in cash to be won. Activate any data plan and you can be one of 14 winners to join Digicel's Spin to Win game show where you can win millions in cash. Activate a data plan today on the best network and make this Christmas the best one yet.
Digicel.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. 2 gunmen on Sunday evening executed a daring robbery at the Good Life supermarket at Cumberland, East Kanji, Region 6. The incident occurred at about 21 hours and shortly before the supermarket closed its doors to the public. This newscast understands that the staff had already left the building and the last 2 customers were being attended to by the owners of the supermarket when the 2 gunmen entered the supermarket, whipped out 2 firearms and demanded that everyone adheres to their demands. The CCTV footage revealed that one of the perpetrators dealt such a blow to the Chinese national that he was forced to sit on the floor while the other perpetrator rushed to the cash register and started to look for cash. He was seen collecting several items from the drawers and putting them into a bag. After about 45 seconds, his colleague approached the counter and took out money from the cash register along with a few other items. The men then exited the building and discharged 2 rounds into the air before escaping. The owner told the Evening News that the men managed to escape with only $23,000 in cash. Meanwhile, shortly after 2 hours on Monday, a lone man was seen on camera removing a number of items from the supermarket. Meanwhile, it was only in October that this supermarket was robbed of 13 brooms, and on the previous night, an electric fan and several bicycle tires were removed. Gerald Bryan joins us now to report that under the former APNU AFC government, a situation existed wherein a number of vehicles that were not on the Region 5 register received thousands of liters of fuel at taxpayers' expense on multiple occasions. Here are the details.
On Monday, the Auditor General's 2019 report was discussed at the level of the Public Accounts Committee, PAC. Region 5 Accounting Officer Genevieve Blackman was questioned on why vehicles not registered to the region were able to have taxpayers pick up the tab for refueling. There were 18 instances where 1,195 liters of fuel was purchased for a vehicle with license plate PTT 1184 amounting to $253,913 in 2019. The year before, fuel was purchased 41 times for 26 vehicles that weren't in the region's inventory, totaling almost $500,000.
PTT 1184 is a bus belonging to Hugo Chavez. I have not seen any documentation giving permission for this vehicle to have gasoline. And based on the research, the RDC would have given gas to a bus belonging to Hugo Chavez to assist them, but there's no documentation anywhere. It's another government agency in the region controlled by the Ministry of Human Services.
Meanwhile, Regional Engineer Dan Paul Suka explained that fuel is purchased through purchase orders at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, a reconciliation is done between the region and the service station.
At the end of the month now, there's a reconciliation that is done whereby the service station would normally provide us with the list of vehicles that would have uplifted fuel, along with the necessary quantity of fuel collected, signature of drivers, etc. And that reconciliation was usually done in our account section to balance off the amount of fuel, the value of that fuel collected against the amount of money paid to the service station for that month.
The audit office was eventually able to produce a list of the 26 vehicles that received the fuel. But when the vehicle numbers were called out, the regional administration could not account for them. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
New pieces of legislation aimed at beefing up the powers of the Public Accounts Committee to go after officers skirting accountability are likely to be brought to the National Assembly in the coming months. Here is Gerald Bryan again with the details.
Public Accounts Committee (PAC) is an important organ of Parliament in charge of ensuring taxpayers' money is well spent and free from corruption. It has, however, had to grapple with public officers who refuse to make themselves available for questioning. On Monday, the PAC met to peruse spending in Region 5 during the 2019 fiscal year. However, the accounting officer from that period, Ovid Morrison, was not present during the morning session. During the sitting, PAC member and parliamentarian Jurita Finance reminded the committee of a pending motion that would seek legislation to beef up the PAC's powers.
We had an issue in which we discussed at length whether or not the PAC even had the power to summon anyone to attend. Because we realized, and I think it was expressed by even our legal minds here at the PAC, Mr. Datadin and so forth, that we do not have that power to summon anyone. We could not go down the length as though we had the power to summon someone to attend. Hence, we have a motion right now being put forward collectively from the PAC to the National Assembly, so that we will actually have the laws changed, so that we will then have the power rather to summon someone. So as it is right now, we cannot operate as though the PAC has any power to summon, because we do not. So we need to expedite that motion being passed in the National Assembly so we can go down these course. As it is right now, we have to work with a system that we are faced with.
Finance pointed out that there have been instances before where accounting officers did not show up and emphasized that the PAC's work must continue. This was reinforced by acting chairperson Ganesh Maipal.
3 weeks ago, we were supposed to examine region number 5. And unfortunately, we did not get to examine region number 5. We must also consider that persons who were invited for particular meetings and subsequently we did not get to meet, and now that we have finally gotten the opportunity to meet, that the current REO did not get to communicate with the former REO, even though she attempted. So clearly there is the issue in terms of communication, his availability, and whether he is in the jurisdiction or not.
Meanwhile, Morrison subsequently showed up at the PAC for the afternoon session, where he made an opening statement claiming he did a perfect handover in 2020.
I wish to make it clear that my response is in keeping with my response to the Auditor General queries and those response I did. However, I am being asked 5 years, matters of 5 years back. When I hand over, I had a perfect handing over. And therefore, in discussing any audit query, all departmental heads always be present in discussion with me. So any departmental head can answer.
Days after the People's Progressive Party, PPP, took office in August 2020, Morrison was one of 7 regional executive officers that the government had given marching orders to. Jal O'Brien, The Evening News.
A new $35 million building was today handed over to the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission. The building will serve as the Blackbush Polder's office and is a part of the Commission's Sustainable Land Development and Management Project. Our BERBICE correspondent Andrew Carmichael tells us more.
The Guyana Lands and Survey Commission and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, on Tuesday afternoon hosted a handing over ceremony for the newly constructed office in Blackbush Polder, Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine. The new building is equipped with new land administration, surveying, information and communication technology, and furniture. The new GLSC office and facilities were done to meet the increasing demand for decentralized land administration services in the region. The new building, new equipment, and training are part of GLSC's Sustainable Land Development and Management Project, which is funded by the Guyana Red Investment Fund and implemented by the FAO. Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Enrique Moniz, said that the funds were initially to be used to develop the head office in Georgetown, but was redirected to build the living quarters at Port Kaituma, improve the Region 7 office, and construct the new office in the Blackbush Polder.
We're going to be hooking this office up to the national system that we have in Georgetown. It's going to be computerized and interconnected. They were working from ledgers at the old office, right? Because they won't have too much focus on Blackbush Polder for a while, right? So over the years, a lot of issues developed. There's a couple hundred issues in terms of land matters.
Right.
So we realized that, Blackbush is not going to go away and leave us. We need to work here, right? And we cannot wish these problems away. So by upgrading and by putting systems in place, and we're going to staff this facility, we hope that we're going to reduce the amount of complaints in terms of land issues.
Meanwhile, Region 6 Chairman David Armagon, speaking at the simple handing over ceremony, reminded of discomfort and inconvenience faced by residents of the region when seeking out services from the Lands and Survey Commission. In this regard, he spoke of the benefits the new building will bring.
We've got to recognize that this region is an agricultural region, region number 6. The entire economy of this region revolves around agriculture. And therefore, land is of extreme importance to this region. Because without land, there can be no agriculture. And so, for too long, the people in Blackbush Polder have had to visit a building which was not conducive for discussion, which was not conducive to do business. And I suspect the staff too would have been really inconvenienced to be working in a building like what we had before.
Adding to the new infrastructure are technical and capacity development for staff. Several staff benefited from scholarship programs and technical training to meet the technological advancement introduced to better manage and develop lands in Guyana. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Rupasina Ryan joins us now to report that 86 students who graduated from the Guyana School of Agriculture have been challenged to expand, diversify, and modernize Guyana's resilient and competitive agriculture sector. This call was made by Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa during the GSA's 58th graduation ceremony on Monday. Here is more.
As the Guyana School of Agriculture committed to supporting the entrepreneurial endeavors of their students, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa encouraged the graduates to be change makers in the sector.
You are the shaper of your future. In Guyana, the time is right for those who are willing to make the most of the opportunities that are upon us. Go forth and let your light be known. It is your time, as I said, and today is your time to shine. You are still young in your career advancement. There is much more to be done. Some of you may go on to university and other tertiary institution, others may choose different avenues. Whatever you decide, you must know success is not guaranteed. You must work hard and diligently.
The 86 graduates achieved various qualifications in agriculture, animal health, veterinary public health, forestry, and agro-processing.
Students were assessed on coursework, midterm and end-of-term examinations. Overall assessments showed the Diploma in Agriculture Monrepo produced 38 graduating students, Distinction 3, Higher Credit 16, Lower Credit 13, Pass 6. The Diploma in Agriculture Essequibo produced 2 graduating students, both with distinction. The Diploma in Animal Health and Veterinary Public Health produced 12 graduating students, Distinction 5, Higher Credit 4, Lower Credit 2, Pass 1. Certificate in Agriculture produced 19 graduating students, Distinction 1, Higher Credit 9, Lower Credit 6, Pass 3. The Certificate in Forestry, Monrepo, produced 6 graduating students, Higher Credit 2, Lower Credit 2, Pass 2. The Certificate in Agro-Processing produced 3 graduating students, Higher Credit 1, Lower Credit 2.
GSA also celebrated 60 years of providing tertiary education and other services to young men and women. As agricultural development is a crucial aspect of Guyana's economy, GSA continues to promote and support the training of persons interested in agricultural careers. To date, some 4,138 students have graduated from the institution. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
President Dr. Finali has urged newly graduated students of the University of Guyana BERBICE campus not to wait for opportunities to fall into their laps, noting that the opportunities which lie ahead are as vast as the horizon. Andrew Carmichael has that story.
This year's convocation ceremony, which was held at the University of Guyana BERBICE campus, saw several new academic programs producing graduates for the first time. These include Bachelor of Science in Food Science, Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering, Master in Communication, Master of Education in Early Childhood Development, and Master in Strategic Development Studies. Some 200 persons graduated from the class of 2023. President Dr. Irfan Ali urged them not to wait for opportunities to fall into their lap. He made the call during a virtual presentation to the graduates on Saturday.
In this world, you'll find 2 kinds of persons. Those who sit and wait for opportunities to come their way, and those who create or go out and aggressively seek those opportunities. I urge you not to be the former. I encourage you to stride boldly into the future. Be the masters of your destiny, the shapers of your future. In Guyana, the time is right for those who are willing to seize the day, embrace challenges, and transform them into opportunities for upliftment. This is your time to shine, and I implore you to step forth boldly and seize the moment rather than waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap.
Almost 200 students graduated on Saturday and joined the close to 3,000 from the university's Turkine campus who graduated the previous weekend at the National Cultural Center in Georgetown. The president urged them to embrace challenges and form them into opportunities for upliftment. He pointed out that certification alone does not guarantee success. Meanwhile, Pharrell Khan was the best graduating student. She completed a Bachelor of Science in Management with a GDP of 3.95. Khan is a small business owner from East Kanji, BERBICE. According to her, the overall experience at the University of Guyana was enriching, rewarding, and offered insights into different perspectives. Khan recounted on experiences of the COVID-19 pandemic, which she said taught her never to give up.
Our batch had the opportunity to spend 1.5 semesters in face-to-face classes before the COVID-19 pandemic hit and threw us into the online delivery mode of classes. Thankfully, the management of the University of Guyana enabled us to continue our studies from home with much needed assistance to navigate online portals with minimal delays. We experienced sudden blackouts. Thanks, GPL, for knocking us out of classes, presentations, and even examinations. Thanks to GTP for the full internet connectivity. We also had individuals playing music quite loudly from their vehicles, parked within proximity to our homes, and threatening us and increasing volumes when we complained. Fellow graduates, the fact that we are here, basking in this moment, meant that these situations taught us to become resilient, to persevere, and to never give up.
The university on Saturday also conferred honorary doctorate degrees to some outstanding Guyanese in various areas of expertise. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira was conferred with an honorary doctorate in law for excellence in sports and civil engineering, while legendary Test cricketer Rohan Kanai was also conferred with an honorary doctorate of law with excellence in sport and civil engineering in absentia. For the evening news, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic on Wednesday, November 22, 2023 at midnight for a period of 3.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE Bridge is expected to be closed at 12:20 on Wednesday, November 22, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Elite League promotional playoffs return and riveting bike action set for December 2. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast is sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
John Lewis Styles is proud to introduce for the very first time their own brand of women's clothing. A line of hand-picked styles and designs of modern and contemporary women's clothing. Fashionable enough for the young. Styles that are timeless and quality that you're accustomed to. Choose from t-shirts, tops, pants, jackets, shorts, dresses and even hoodies. So come see our new women's line on Waterloo Street on the second floor. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
As you know, we have been experiencing power outages, prolonged power outages that we are totally dissatisfied with.
Right now, we are producing about 10 megawatt below what the peak requirement necessitates.
The truth be told, the pace at which we are growing would require us to double our capacity as quickly as possible. That is why the gas to energy project and the hydroelectric project is so important for us.
Superbet, your best bet. With many agents countrywide, our products are easily accessible. Visit an agent nearest to you to play your favorite games. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.
Giving you the best Christmas with digital.
This Christmas, it's all about the best. Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Get half off and a whopping 50 gigs of data when you purchase the Samsung A04 for just $14,000, the Samsung A14 for just $29,000, or the Samsung A24 for just $35,000. That's right, half off and 50 gigs of data. It doesn't get any better than this. So why wait? This Christmas, buy nothing but the best. Offer good while stocks last.